I've always had an ambitious dream of owning a block of land and doing the homestead thing. So I bought a house in town. Because Bob, you are really cute in like a kind of ugly, weird looking way. Look how weird you look. Anyway, I realized the other night lying in bed that you can still do the homestead thing on a house block. You just got to utilize the space correctly and get rid of all the traditional white picket fence bullshit. You see, my house came with all this useless white pebble that doesn't do anything except keep the summer heat in it and just look trash. Do have some apple trees though, and it's spring, so they're starting to come through. I've done some pruning back on this, but we've got to go harder. And just finished this little extension here where we can put the barbecue out on it. And well, we just extended the deck, right? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Oh, the best part is I'm getting 4 ducks, Cayuga ducks, and they're going to go down the back and building an entire enclosure for them. That's going to be sweet. At the end of the day, though, all of this stuff is a lot of hard manual labor, and it's good. It's very rewarding doing that. But what's funny about that is watching an 11-year-old try to wrap their head around what real hard work actually is. I have an 11-year-old guppy, and the 11-year-old has not done too much manual labor in his life, and he's just discovering what real hardship is, and I want to share a little bit of the story. Things like saws make me happy, going out and doing some hard work and sawing stuff in half and figuring out how to build things. I enjoy that a lot. But the guppy, he likes something else. He likes his Nintendo Switch, and fair enough, I like video games. I mean, shit, that's a PS5, right? Like, I spent a lot of money on setting myself up to play video games, so I get it. But the difference between me and him is that I have self-control. He's 11 and figuring the self-control part out. So the other day, when we were being a little bit too inattentive and not really paying attention to how much Switch he was playing, he played it for 6 hours and gave himself a cracking headache. Hey, lesson well learned, you would think. But the next day, he decided that he would try to get away with doing the same thing again. That's the wrong side. We live in Australia, and because it gets super freaking hot, bread goes moldy really quickly. So it's kept in the freezer. Problem with that is that frozen bread is, well, it's frozen. So it makes it harder to make things, right? Things like his favorite food, which just so happened to be toasted cheese sandwiches with ham on them. And we do that utilizing cast iron because the conspiracy theorist in me is like, oh, Teflon, I don't want brain rot. So you get your bread, then you get your cheese and your ham and another bit of bread, and then you put butter in the pan, and then you put all that in the pan on a low heat, and you let it heat up, and it melts the cheese and makes it toasty. But I mean, Christ, you're an adult, you probably know that. Anyway, Bob, your food's on the ground. For you and I, that's pretty straightforward to do. It takes 3 or 4 minutes. However, if you're a guppy that's well invested in your Nintendo Switch and you're totally okay with giving yourself a headache the day before by overutilizing said technology, then that is a monumental task. And he proceeded to fill the entire house with smoke and slightly burn the edge of one of the pieces of bread, to which he was dismayed that he did not want to eat it. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but food is getting really expensive, so when he yeeted that toasted cheese sandwich, which was perfectly fine, into the bin because he was playing his video games and he didn't want a slightly burnt crust, in front of me, I had a bone to pick. So I took his Switch and I told him that he's to go outside and play basketball or do something that does not involve being 2.5 centimeters away from a Nintendo. I was not a popular man. It got so much worse for him, so much worse, because then we asked him to help move rocks. I mean, to be fair, he'd been on it for over 2 hours after school, and it was almost dinner time. I was like, you can have a couple of hours off, bro. Couple of hours, then you can have your Switch back. Just come help us do some rocks. Come help us make the thing we're making. To be fair, he did everything we asked. He helped out here, and he helped clean up his room, and he did a whole bunch of jobs. And I was only going to take it off for him for like an hour. And then it came time for dinner, and I was like, oh, you can have your Switch back after dinner. So I make him tacos, and I put the tacos in front of him. But no, he wanted his Switch because, inverted commas, he was bored eating dinner, and he needed his Switch to get through it. So he sat there for an hour watching him get cold. And at the end of that hour, when he realized that all he had to do was eat his tacos and he could have just had his Switch and be done with it already, he finally ate most of his tacos. To which I gave him his Switch back and he asked if he could have some dessert. I was like, yeah, absolutely, man. You can have some dessert. So I got him some dessert. Not just any ice cream, bloody Milo ice cream, the king of Aussie ice creams. This was the scene I was confronted with. And it went a little something like this. Am I allowed my Switch back now? And can I have some ice cream?
You can absolutely have some ice cream and you switch. It's fine.
I'm done. I'm just done. I've had up to here. I've had enough. It's been hard. I'm over this. I'm so over this. I go to my room. Look, that is the only acceptable reaction you should have when you're being given back a Nintendo Switch and a bowl of Milo ice cream. I can already tell because this is the internet. For all you concerned parents out there and people are going to jump in the comments and blah, 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 blah. It's a funny story. Lighten up.